Hello everybody, this is going to be a race recap from Boulder 70.3. So for me, I did not feel that it was a great performance, but it was a good result and I'm happy with that. So by the numbers, I came in second in my age group, 10th in the amateur overall, with a time of 4:10, so that's the best I've done in terms of placing and in terms of time. I mean, it was a really fast course on the day. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the fact that that's probably going to end up as like a USAT score of 108, 109, which will be in elite qualifying territory for next year if that's something I want to do, which is fantastic. That was a goal of mine for the season, was to put myself in that kind of a position. I'm really happy with the swim. It was my best swim so far by time, by placement. I came fourth in the age group. I did good navigationally. I paced it well. I was pretty relaxed the whole time. I didn't overexert myself. And yeah, I think it was about a 50-second PR or something for me. Love that. That's fantastic. It was my best transition so far. I didn't concede really any time to anybody that I was racing against in transition. Usually I look to the pro times as well as like the standard of where I want to be, but they had a whole different transition area from us this time. They were running on carpet. It was a bit shorter, so their times are just faster than anyone else's in the amateur field. But within the amateur field, I was consistently really fast, which is awesome. I transitioning well is something that I always want to be good at. It's just time that you're leaving on the table if you don't. So this is all great progress. I didn't lose any bottles on the bike, which is fantastic. I was trying really hard to not do that this time. My fueling was great. I took in about 120 grams of carb per hour on the bike, about 800 milliliters of fluid and 800 milligrams of sodium, and that's all awesome. Everything else in the fuel, I did not. I felt in control the whole time in terms of fueling. There was never any issues with feeling out of energy. I've been recovering much faster than I did after bonking in Oceanside. So a lot of these little things that I was intending to improve, I did. And that's the good. Now to the not so good, the stuff that I'm not as excited about in terms of the performance. I did not push good power on the bike. And I've yet to figure out exactly the entire reason for that, and I think that's really hard to kind of reverse engineer sometimes, the causes. But there were a couple things that were abnormal. So coming out of the water and out of T1, my heart rate was really high, and it took a long time for it to drop back down. It took about a half hour for me to get from 175 beats per minute to usually at race power, I'm about 160. So that took about a half hour, longer than normal, and but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with building into the bike. But then I only had about, 10 or 15 minutes of feeling okay and like, okay, this is a type of power that I can get to, that I can build from, and let's have a good second lap. To all of a sudden getting some really abnormal tightness and pain in my back and my hips in the low back, which is something I've never experienced before. I'm always really comfortable in my aero position. It's something that I've always been really excited about, is how well I feel that I can just chill in my position. I've never had any issues like that. And as that went on, it just became harder and harder to push the power that I was expecting and planning, to push. And so eventually, once we got to the end of the second lap at a little over an hour, I felt like, I just have to back off a little bit. I'm not going to be able to maintain this. So I did, and I just tried to manage myself really around the second lap. And I didn't drop off too much in terms of speed. It was hard on a 2-lap course navigating all the age groupers and stuff, the slower age groupers. But I managed it pretty well, and I didn't make it any worse. and I thought I was really going to have issues getting into the run. I thought I was going to have to just actually stop and stretch for a little bit. I didn't end up having to do that. But that led into the second thing where I just never could pick it back up on the run either. What I do in training leads me to believe that I can run at the minimum like a 118, probably more like a 116-ish. Those are the paces that I'm training at, and so it was a little bit conservative, honestly, to say that the first couple laps, or not couple laps, but couple miles off the bike, I was going to run at about 6 minutes, and then see how we felt off of the bike, and slowly drop it down into like the 550s, maybe 545 around for the second lap, and I just never even got near that. I ended. I was pretty much at limit effort coming around for the last fourth of the course, the last 4 miles, which is where I want to be, but I was going a lot slower than I wanted to. I ended that race absolutely buried, and that's another thing I am proud of. Not letting these issues ruin the day, still getting a result, and putting everything I had into it. That's always something I'm going to be happy with, but really just wasn't up to snuff in terms of the details of those last 2 pieces, very important pieces as well. But I know what the training I've done has been. I know the fitness I have, so I am really excited to figure out what went wrong and put that to bed so I can get after a really fast performance at Boulder Peak, which is coming up. That'll be in about 5 weeks. And then I'll have this little kind of mid-season break because the big goal will be for Worlds in December. So, everything's still coming along well. These performances are improving, and I'm excited to make some more steps. And I'll try and be a bit better with leading people along the way. So, thank you, everybody. There's so many people who made this weekend be possible. I have to thank the Bettigers. I got to thank Jake During, Dan O'Rourke, Matt Hoffman, Dougie T. Thank you for coming out. Mike Mann and the coaches at Greenwood. Thank you. And a whole lot more people. Everyone who was out in front of me, giving me carrots and reasons to keep trying to go faster. So, yeah, appreciate it.